Like many people who are pro-choice, I share the intuition that human embryos and fetuses in the early stages of pregnancy are, in some ineffable sense, less alive and therefore less important. But I also agree with many pro-life people that most attempts to define when a developing human being becomes alive, important, or worth legally protecting are fundamentally dissatisfying. Like, presumably that transition from less alive to more alive, whatever it entails, happens some time before you're actually born. So I'm not a fan of pro-choice arguments that take the bait and use as evidence how obviously slimy and frog-like humans are at various stages of in utero development. Because the politicization of abortion is about bodily autonomy. It's not about murdering innocent babies. So you'll never get anywhere debating whether or not the murdered babies were really babies to begin with. Under any circumstance except one, I am not legally obligated to offer my body, my organs, my vital fluids to someone who needs them to survive, even if they're a family member, even if it's my fault that they're in the position of needing these things from me. This argument is not original. You may have encountered it before in this famous philosophy essay by Judith Jarvis Thompson, in this screenshot shared widely online across multiple platforms, or in this excellent video essay from VelocityTube. If someone needs a bone marrow transplant and I'm the only match in the world, and my refusal will certainly cost them their life, I'm not legally obligated to undergo the procedure. If that person is my child, I'm not legally obligated to undergo the procedure. Regardless of any moral judgments you might personally hold about that choice, the government does not consider it murder. The law grants me final authority over my organs even after I have died and I am no longer using them. It is completely inconsistent and unprincipled to insist on a different standard for pregnancies. In a world where so many people are insisting every day on their own bodily autonomy, regardless of whether their actions endanger or even take the lives of others, I grow less and less able to sympathize with even religiously motivated pro-life views, regardless of how sincerely felt. Another thing I see is a lot of people generally downplaying the medical event that is pregnancy. So if you're thinking it's a minor enough sacrifice that it should be a legal exception to the otherwise protected right of bodily autonomy, especially if it saves a human life, then I just want to enlighten you about a few things. Pregnancy is inconvenient. To prioritize the health of this separate life, pregnant people have to avoid certain substances and activities, many of which could be big parts of their professional and personal lives. Pregnancy is extremely uncomfortable. For many people, morning sickness is constant through the entirety of their first trimester, and sometimes even beyond. They vomit multiple times a day and struggle to eat enough to maintain their current weight. Later in pregnancy, people's bodies are sore, they suffer chronic sleep loss, and frequently develop a variety of both temporary and permanent health complications. Pregnancy is expensive. Prenatal care is prohibitively priced for many, and pregnant people who are not able to work in the later stages lose wages. A person who forgoes all pregnancy-related care will still be on the hook for the cost of delivery, and possibly be liable for criminal charges in states that consider this child abuse. And still, even when a pregnancy is unwanted, the same governments that prevent abortion won't cover these costs. Childbirth is dangerous. Birthing death rates for Black people in America especially are astoundingly high. If you're Black and giving birth, you're nearly 3 times more likely to die from a complication than your white counterparts. But even beyond death, people suffer injuries during vaginal delivery that affect their ability to control their bladder and bowels, that affect their ability to have sex without experiencing pain. And C-sections are serious abdominal surgeries that take months to recover from. To block someone from choosing whether or not they want to have these experiences is a tremendous infringement on their personal freedom. Abortions should have the lowest conceivable barriers for access. They should be free like all healthcare, and they should be available for any reason at any stage in a pregnancy. If a pregnant person decides they no longer want to be pregnant, they should be assisted in reaching that goal as quickly as is safe and logistically feasible. People who can get pregnant do not owe the use of their bodies to anyone under any circumstance. Anyway, it's a great day to donate to one of the organizations on the screen. I want to especially highlight the Afaya Center in Texas, which focuses on reproductive justice for Black and brown people who are systemically disadvantaged when accessing this and all healthcare.